So in my previous video, I spoke to you about Stephen Greer and showed you part of an interview where he said in 2025, January of 2025, there was going to be a complete and full UAP release, a full disclosure. Just a mere 8 hours ago, he was on another interview today, January 11th, saying that this full disclosure release is going to happen next week. We'll see. Also, we have a little video clip of Israel possibly being assisted by UAP. You'll know what I mean when I show you that clip. And we also have Steve Bassett. Steve Bassett's from the Paradigm Institute, and he speaks in this interview, and I took a little clip out of it about why the NHI are here, why they're increasing in sightings, also the reasons for their being here and the sightings increasing. And he'll speak to that a little more when I show you that clip. We also have yet another incursion, but this time it's another scary incursion. Credit to Melanie, a subscriber, Melanie, that gave me this link. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You've been a great asset to the human spectrum. Apparently there were drones flying over a nuclear plant, and we'll get into that article. Very short article on that. Couldn't find much more about it anywhere else. Not surprised. And we also have a leaked video from 1947 of possible military personnel documenting pieces of possible crashed UFOs with lettering of some kind on it. And some of these letters look familiar for those of you who have been in ufology, if you would, for a long period of time. There's these letterings or symbols on there. They may look familiar to you. So we have a lot to cover today. So stick around. We're going to get right into it. So welcome to the human spectrum. Thanks for joining me today. We got a lot to get into, and we're going to jump right into it. The first thing I want to do is get into this article that was given to me by Melanie. Thanks again. I really appreciate you. You're absolutely an asset to the human spectrum, and sincerely appreciate it. And what she sent me was very interesting. This is about the nuclear plant incursion that occurred, I believe it was day before yesterday. And we're going to go over this article right here that you're seeing. And the title is Minnesota Nuclear Plant on Alert as Mystery Drone Sighting Surge, Warning Issued. So let's go into this small read here. Police officers at Goodhue County Sheriff's Office received a complaint about 4 to 5 drones flying around the vicinity of the Prairie Island Nuclear Plant on the 1700 block of Wagonade Drive, according to a press release from the Red Wing Police Department. Prairie Island Tribal Police Department responded to the area where they found 2 drones flying around the nuclear plant and Lock and Dam number 3. Goes on to say the officials monitored the drones until they disappeared from the area. While they were unable to locate the pilots of these drones, they assured the public that there was no active threat. We have drones flying over a nuclear plant, and that's definitely a threat, if you ask me. The incident is not under investigation, police said. A new federal aviation agency rule in 2023 allows people to fly drones at night with proper precautions, which attributed to the surge in drone sightings uh, by Alejandro Mayorkas, the Department of Homeland Security chief at the outgoing President Joe Biden's administration. So apparently there's no threat. They disappeared. They couldn't find it. The drones, by the time the police got there, they only saw 2 drones, and they kind of just watched them until they disappeared. And apparently there is no investigation. So I don't know if maybe the feds came in and took it over because of the nature of it being a power plant. That's a pretty big deal if you ask me. Let me know what you think. But this is definitely, to me, this is definitely big news. And again, thank you, Melanie. I appreciate the link. This is not good. Hopefully it was just a couple of regular people with, drones they purchased and they're flying it, but over a nuclear plant, that's a little suspicious to me. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a law against that. I understand military facilities, and it's still going on over military facilities, yet they're not being shot down. I wonder why that is. Maybe because it's not a good idea, because maybe those are the good NHI. I don't know. It's something. There's a reason for it. But apparently we might find out that reason within a week. But yeah, so this is the article that I wanted to show you. It's very important. And yeah, apparently, according to the local police there, no further investigation on this. So we're going to move right along to the next one here. We're going to take a look at this supposed UAP that is helping out Israel. So let's get right into that. So a very short clip. It does appear to be Israel, and I can see what looks like some firing going on over the skies. But what everybody is saying as far as this particular small clip is that we know about hypersonic missiles and how fast they can go, and how they've already been used in testing and so on, and obviously in other events going on around the world. But the way that thing moved to the left from what appeared to be a fixed position, it could have possibly come from the right the whole time, and it was just clouds blocking it out. But it wasn't really that overcast in that clip. Let me know what you think. That was at regular speed, whoever recorded that, and I don't have a name, but that clip was interesting to me because of the way that thing shot to the left and how fast it did. And if it did that from a fixed position while these other things were moving around, to me that's a UAP of some sort. Let me know what you think in the comments. So we're going to move right along to Steve Bassett. He has some interesting things to say, like I told you in the beginning, and let's get right into what he has to say about this whole NHI thing. It's really interesting.
The United States government knew about the ET presence no later than July of 1947 in Roswell. Made the decision at that time to keep that from the American people. But witnesses for a number of these shutdowns came forward. They have been trying to testify before Congress for 30 years. The extraterrestrials have lost their patience, and the risk to us as a civilization has only increased. And so they've decided we're going to end this nonsense. And so they are doing incursions. using their devices, whatever they are, not just in one place, not in two places, not on one continent, multiple continents, and the U.S. government knows it. You can't shoot them down. You don't want to send up piloted craft because they could crash. So you send up your own drones to somehow monitor them as best you can.
So that's going to bring us into the next clip, which is the 1947 video documentation of these craft that crashed. But before I get into that, one of the things, this is a shortened clip of his whole interview. When he says the NHI have lost their patience, it's because due to world events that are happening right now, the negative ones, if you know what I mean, and in particular in two places, but one that started earlier, where you have one commander saying that they're willing to use their biggest arsenal, if you get what I mean. So, and when you make threats like that, apparently he's alluding to the fact that these NHA are losing their patience because there's so much, warmongering and all that stuff, saying that they're going to utilize the ultimate weapon. That's a better way of putting it. Let me know what you think. But since he mentioned that this has been going on since, 1947, let's roll into this 1947 clip of them actually documenting this, and it was leaked out, and we have it. So let's have a look. So a short clip of this 1947 documentation of possible pieces of a downed UFO. I looked at this video really closely, and the attire they were wearing was the attire you would wear back in 1947 if you're in the military, particularly toward the last half, where you can see their shirt, long sleeve, and the tie. As far as the materials, I imagine there's a lot more footage than that, but that was as much as they could leak out. What do you think of those symbols? I've seen similar ones before, like on the History Channel, on some other YouTube channels that get into this possible, pieces of craft and how they find like certain hieroglyphics on there, even some that match some that are on, on the earth, which has always been interesting to me. And I would love to know what those hieroglyphics spell out, what they mean, if they were translated. This is the kind of stuff I'm interested in. And, but yeah, that's apparently a 1947 clip of the military documenting what appears to be pieces of a downed UFO. So I guess this goes back to probably the Roswell incident. Before we get into Steven Greer's important message just 8 hours ago, I wanted to show you this thing, one little thing here. Remember the other day we showed you a clip where Fox News captured what appeared to be a white-looking orb from two different places, one from the ground, possibly from a smartphone, and another from a webcam that's on 24 hours a day. I think that was the last video, if I'm not mistaken. Well, once again, Fox News captures another one. Let's take a look at this.
Starting to, come on the brink of being expired. We are going to see those winds picking up, and, it won't.
So right there you have a local meteorologist for a local Fox affiliate talking about the weather and how it affects the current tragic fires that are happening. And you see in real time this black flat object go by at a good rate of speed, and they slow it down in the end. She was speaking and did not have a clue that that went by, and until they reviewed it, and we got our hands on it, and I wanted to show it to you. Let me know what you think. That's number 2 of Fox News, at least a Fox News affiliate, capturing at the other video an orb, and this video what appears to be more of a solid object. Let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely interesting. Also, there's a new director of AARO, and if you're familiar with my senator from my home state here in New York, Senator Gillibrand, she had a few questions for the new AARO director. So let me show you this one real quick.
It's been widely reported that individuals claiming first-hand knowledge of unreported UAP programs have been reluctant to engage with AARO. What message do you have for those individuals, and how will you work to gain their trust?
We've met with several of their interlocutors and a couple of first-hand witnesses, and we are making great progress, and those first-hand witnesses that we have talked to do feel comfortable coming back to us.
So that was the new director, John Kozlowski, being questioned by Senator Gillibrand, and you heard him say they've been speaking to first-hand witnesses. So I know there's been some issues with AARO in the past, but he answered the question without hesitation, and he immediately said first-hand witnesses. So that's interesting. It's a good start as far as a good restart, in my opinion, for AARO. So let's hope that this new director can continue doing good work for AARO, especially if what Steven Greer is saying doesn't come to fruition. So we're going to jump right into that. I know you guys have been waiting to see this interview from 8 hours ago. So let's listen to what Steven Greer had to say today, January 11th.
Right. Does this disclosure happen next week? And if it does, how does it happen? When it starts happening, how will we know?
Well, it'll be all over the news. It's good to see you again. I just heard about an hour ago from the, we call the NOC, he's a non-official cover aerospace intelligence community, a senior operator from one of the key black sites, 2 black sites out in the western United States. And they are preparing to do this next week. I don't have an exact date. They intend to not only provide their testimony of operations, he's been there almost 30 years, but also the evidence and other details. Now, he's been involved in 2 things. One is the testing and the surveillance of the man-made UAPs that have been manufactured out of the Lockheed Skunk Works and Northrop Grumman complexes out in the high desert.
Okay.
The other is the targeting of non-human craft. Some would say extraterrestrial, some say alien. The words they're using now is NHI, non-human intelligence, and the downing of those objects. So he's been intimately involved. I've been at his facility, and that is on track. Now, keep in mind, so much of what is being seen now is sort of a decoy false flag operation, sort of trying to enter.
So right from the start, that was very interesting what he was saying. He's talking about black sites, and we all know we have black sites. But he's talking about administrators or an administrator with over 30 years working with these things, from reverse engineering, just like he said, to making them work, and also knowledge with the NHI also. But that's pretty big news, I think, when you're talking about an administrator of a black site that's been on it for 30 years. Let me know what you think. And then the claim that they are prepared to give people like him the go-ahead, to give everyone else the go-ahead to go ahead and do this full disclosure, like you mentioned in the first interview in my previous video. You know, as far as what he said toward the end, he believes a lot of this stuff up there is for a false flag event, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if that's the case. Obviously, I check social media. I read a lot of articles, and it's not the first time I've heard of this type of thing happening. Obviously, it's been used many times around the world for different reasons, whether it's good or for bad, or to protect us or not. But what I do know is there could be a culmination of both. But when you think about these drones that were increasing from November, December, even now still, and again, keep this in mind, the FAA put strict restrictions for non-commercial and certain commercial drones not to fly over military bases unless it's military drones themselves. Yet they're still flying over these military bases. Again, from the Farsight Institute's point of view, based on their work, if that's the good NHI that are trying to, speak to the masses in the way they can right now, you put up a drone in the military, you're not going to shoot at it, because I don't think they would win. And the smart thing to do is just to observe. So that's what I think a lot of the green and red lighted craft that were up in the skies were. I think those were military drones keeping an eye on these orbs and UAPs in the sky. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. Give me your opinion. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, so now we're talking next week. So we're still locked on to January, as far as Steven Greer is saying, when it comes to full disclosure. So yeah, thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, subscribe, and if you like what you see and hear, give me a thumbs up, and I'll be back with another one. So from the Human Spectrum, take care, everyone.
The Human Spectrum's on the track, yeah.